Good morning. Or you might see this and it's not morning where you are. And we're going to begin today's practice laying back over a support. I'm going to take a blanket and make a long shape, sausage shaped support. And that's for underneath the shoulder blades. So a little support under the shoulder blades across your mat. We'll start off with the legs bent and just relaxing the upper body. Shoulder blade, armpit. Tuning in to your breathing. Good, and if your hips feel okay, bring the soles of the feet together and knees out wide. Good. And then we're going to release from that posture. So just rolling off to your right and take the support out, but lay back down flat on the floor. Good. Bring the knees towards the chest and the feet off the floor. So knees over the hips. If you push your feet away further, then it's harder work for the core of the body. So put your knees where you can press your lower back into the floor. You can feel the front core of your body really engaged, but you're not straining around your heart or your face or your throat. Good. I'm going to take the arms straight up and press your lower back again into the floor. Try to get the whole broad skin there. And we're just going to start taking the legs out to straight and back to center one at a time. Good, so keep pressing your back. Good, and then releasing and hug your knees into your chest and rocking a little bit from side to side. Nice work. We're going to bring the hands now behind your head. You can just rest one hand into the other or interlock your fingers. And we're going to try and not push the head up with the hands. So keep the head resting back onto the hands. Good. Try the same thing with the legs. So knees either over the hips or out a little from center. But we want to feel the work in the core of the body, not the face, not the throat. And press the whole skin of the back to the floor. Nice work. And try with the legs again. Straightening one leg at a time. And then you bring them back to that starting position. Nice work. Just keep your hands there. Rock your legs, your pelvis a little from side to side. Breathing deeply. Hmm. Good. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide, and lift your upper body off the floor just a little, but rest your head back into your hand and squeeze again the belly towards the spine. And then we're going to take the right elbow towards the left knee and back to center. And the left elbow to the right knee and back to center. And a little from side to side here. Ah. Mm. 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 Good. And then release. Hug your knees into your chest and rocking a little bit from side to side. Good work. And we're going to roll over and come into an all fours position. Shoulders sort of over the wrists, knees back a little from the line of the hip. And stretch your fingers out wide. So you can press your fingerprints down, base of the index fingers down. And we're going to ease the spine forward and back. Find a wave-like movement. Aware of your supple and subtle movement. Good. And then find a neutral position for your spine. So lifting the belly so the spine feels comfortable. Great. And just start to let your hips hang out to the left side and then hanging out to the right. Left and right. Good. Now hang the hips over to the left. Take the right leg back behind you. So you're balanced on your left hand. And you're going to lift your right arm up and open the chest and look up. Good. And then back into all fours. And then we swing the hips over, hang them to the right. Pick up the left leg and stretch it behind you. Right hand's on the floor. Pick up the left arm. Reach it up. Open the heart up towards the ceiling, the sky. Good. And then back into all fours. One more each side. Left hips hang to the left. Right leg reaches over to the left. Find the left leg. Reach up the right arm. Up at the ceiling. Whoa. Back to center. And then hips hang to the right. Left leg lifts and reaches to the right. And left. Good. And then releasing. And rest for a moment into child's pose. And we're going to find the breath. And the calm connection. When you find the breath, Feel it moving in the body. And then reach your arms forward. Forward Virasana. And this time we're going to come up into downward facing dog pose. Lift the heels high. Lift the sit bones high. And swing the hips to the left. So feel the right side of the body opening. Good. And then swing the hips to the right. Feel the left side of the body opening. Good. And again, left and right. And back to center. Now we want the chest moving towards the front of the legs as much as possible. And the shoulders to be wide, so that you feel like your head just hangs down. Good. Now we're going to swing the hips to the left. Pick up the right foot, take it behind the left foot so it's over somewhere outside the left side of the mat. Put it down so your legs are crossed. Balancing into your left hand, lighten the load in the right hand. Maybe you stay on your fingertips. Maybe you can lift your right arm all the way up and look up. Good, and then come back to center. Downward facing dog pose. And then swing the hips to the right. Left leg lifts up and reaches behind the right leg as far as you can. And then let the hips drop down as you lift up your left arm. Good, and then back to the center. Pressing the heels, relaxing your neck. Good, let's go again, both sides. Left, hips go left. Right leg picks up. Reach back as far as you can. Ooh, picking up the right arm. Good. Releasing that side. Hips go right. Left leg goes behind the right. Picking up the left arm, looking up. Good. And then releasing. And downward facing dog pose. And child's pose. Ah. Nice work. Bring the hands forward. We're going to have the forearms parallel to each other. Elbows under the shoulders. To start with, just stretching. So we'll take the knees back and open the chest towards the front of the legs. Maybe your forehead rests on the floor. Explore with each breath where you can relax a little more in your shoulders and your neck and your chest, so that the bones of the spine embed towards the front of the body here. Nice. Lift up, so lift the shoulders forward. Have the shoulders over the elbows again. And walk the knees back a little and drop the hips almost to the floor. So we're lifting the front core of the body. We're going to look forward. Nice work. Lift the hips, swing the hips back towards the heels again, and lengthening the chest and armpits. Mm. Mm. Good. And then bring the shoulders forward so they're over the elbows. Drop the hips not quite to the floor. Look forward. Draw the shoulder blades back. Feel the belly lifting to support the spine. Nice work. And then press the hips back towards the heels. Finding the breath. Finding the resistance in the shoulders and the armpit and the neck. And you let go of some of that resistance with each breath. And then releasing. Nice. We're going to bring the hands like we would for a headstand. So interlocking your fingers and bring them to the front of the mat. So look at your elbows. They're no wider than your shoulders. Great. You're going to rest the top of your head into the wrist. Now, you can stay on your knees and just press down through your wrists, or you can try tucking your toes under and lifting your knees from the floor. But we press down through the wrist so that you could lift your head off your hand. So your head is just lightly resting. And if you've got room to walk your feet in a little bit, do that. So keep pressing down the wrists. The elbows stay shoulder width. And you're breathing deeply. Nice work. And then release. And release your arm. Child's pose. Balasana. In child's pose, take the hands behind you and interlock your fingers. We're going to walk the palms of the hands towards each other and walk the knuckles back as far as you can. Reach the top of the head further forward. And then see if you can lift your arms up, reaching the knuckles back. Lengthening the sides of the tops of the shoulder. Good. And then release that side. Just rest your arms for a moment. Good. And then swap sides. So opposite index finger on top. Try to get the heels of the hands together. And walk the arms back, the knuckles back. The sides of the neck long. Reaching the top of the head. Breathing deeply. Lifting the hands. Good. And then releasing and relax shoulders. Nice work. We're going to lift up and just step the right foot forward so you're in a proposal pose. Swing the hips forward and bring your hands to the floor so you're in a long. Good. And then tuck the toes under the back foot. Lift that knee off the floor. The long lunge. We're going to lift the breastbone and look forward. Good. Straighten the front leg. And just notice when you get to that bit that feels really difficult, just too intense, and wriggle around a little bit in your upper back. So keep a easy movement there, avoiding rigidity. Good. Bend your front leg again. Keep the back knee off the floor. So we're going to be long lunging again. Look forward. Good. And then straighten that leg. See if you can keep your back relaxed. Find that satisfying connection to the breath. Nice work. And then back knee to the floor. Step the right knee back and lift up. and then left foot forward. We come into a long lunge. Good, and then tuck your toes under of your back foot and straighten that back leg. Good, and then we're going to try and straighten the front leg. So take the hips back, the back heel towards the floor. Find where you really start to resist that stretch. Good, look forward, try to reach the ribs forward. Can you have a little sense of wriggle, of easy movement in your upper body, your torso, back? Good, and then long lunge again. Keep your back knee off the floor. Back to the back heel. Lifting, straightening your back leg. And then straighten the front leg. Press the back heel. Whoa, what happens to the spine? Find your breath. Balance an easy spine with a big stretch in your front leg. Whoa, good work. Back knee gently to the floor. Step the left knee back and rest into child's pose. And in child's pose, feel the breath moving along your spine, across the ribs. Let the back torso relax. Good. Arms all the way forward, forward virasana. Downward facing dog pose. Nice relaxed and mobile spine. And we're going to take tiny little jumps, one at a time, and press your heels down to the floor with each little jump forward. I hope you're enjoying that as much as I am. And when you run out of room, roll on up. Inhale, arms up. As you exhale. Tadasana. Great. Now we're going to turn side on onto the mat. Step your feet out nice and wide. Wider than your leg is long is what we're aiming for. Toes out. And let's drop the hips towards the floor. But when you do that, make sure you're lifting the internal muscles. So the pelvic floor is lifting. And feel the belly lift and press towards the spine. Nice. All right, we're going to wave the spine forward and back. You can make that as big or small a movement as feels good. But try to feel that lovely movement between each bone of your spine. So keep the hips dropping, but the pelvic floor lifting. Now we can make that a little bit stronger by bringing the hands either in front of the heart or up by the ears. Ooh. Good, this is going to be the last. Put your hands on the floor and start to take the hips one side and straighten the opposite leg. Good. Now, I want you to use it to stretch where you need to stretch. So put your hands where they make sense to support and take your hips as low as that makes sense. So we're trying to feel that stretch, especially along the innermost fibers of the hamstrings. So more down the inside leg than the back of the leg. Good. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing. So come back to center and roll up. Nice. Little different stretch this time. We're going to turn the toes in. So your toes are in and your heels are out. And lift up nice and powerfully through the front of the knees, the thighs. Good. And a forward bend again. Feeling yourself hinge forward at the hip. Forward bend. Let's walk the hands as far forward as they'll go without bringing the hips forward from the line of the heels. But let yourself lengthen. Sides of the waist, between the shoulder blades, back of the neck. Lift the kneecaps, lift the quadriceps. How can we get more lengthening? Sometimes thinking about the belly, and we do so much stabilizing with the belly. Let's try and hollow and lengthen the belly here so that we can reach further. Nice work. And then coming back so that you can sit down. And whatever chain of movements you make to sit, appreciating those little movements. Feeling that they're fluid, that your body has a quality of ease. Even if there's some awkwardness. Resilience. Ease plus awkwardness equals resilience, I think. All right, we'll sit up onto a blanket. All right. Working on this stretching of the hamstrings, not just the back of the leg, but those inside fibers that run down the inside of the leg. So what we're going to do is bring the soles of the feet together. Good. And then take your right leg out. So I'm going to look opposite to you. And the trick, I suppose there's many tricks, but the balance here is between keeping the spine and what the upper body is trying to achieve, to reach to, nice and easeful. So feeling fluid in the spine. So let's start some spinal waves. Let's try side to side. Now you might have already set up a little bit of a stretch on the inside of that right leg. Make sure it's not hurting your knee. You can always put a rolled up something under your knee. Right, we've got spinal waves side to side. Let's try making a circle as well as spinal waves. A little bit hard to coordinate. Doing all those little micro movements in the core of the body. Start swinging your circle, your torso, towards that straight leg, so towards your right leg. Keeping that sense that everything along the spine can move. All right. And then we're going to slow down with our little torso movement, but reach the torso over your right. Great. I'm going to take the left arm behind, reach it up, look up, reach the left arm as far as you can towards your right foot. You might be able to put your hand down on your leg Maybe you can hold your foot. The further you reach with your left hand, then the more you're lengthening that left lower back. But can you imagine that you could still dance your spine a little bit? Wave your spine a little bit. So that we don't set up a rigid stretch, but rather a fluid and easeful stretch. Enjoy connecting to your breath. Your right hand can be on the floor for balance, or maybe cross your wrist and hold both sides of your leg or your foot. Nice work. And then releasing that side. Good. And then bring the soles of the feet back in together and the left leg out. We want to set up a stretch for those more inner fibers, the inside leg fibers of the hamstring. Make sure it doesn't hurt your knee. Good. And then the leg looking after itself in this position. Let's think about the spine. Little wave side. Ooh. Good. And then can we make the wave turn into a circle as well? This really is a bit tricky. Keeping it moving. Keeping the back moving. Start to head your circles over in the direction of your left leg now. Good. And then coming to stillness with your spine. Reach your right arm back behind you. Look back. Reach it up by your right ear, and you'll feel your right rib lengthening in that space between the ribs and the pelvis. And we want to keep lengthening that and reach your right hand as far as you can to the outside of that left leg. Maybe you're holding your foot, maybe not. But then we're trying to not be rigid in our back. So whether that feels like you move a little with the breath, or you could still imagine a little bit of wave-like movement. And with each breath, reaching the right side of the body. We've got the left hand now, wherever it supports you. Mm. Right. And then releasing. Okay, so something in the same vein, but we're going to lay down. So bring the legs back to center. Laying down now. And tune in to the shape of the spine supported by the floor. Okay, happy baby pose. So if you're not reaching your feet, just hold your leggings or hold your ankles. The main part of the movement here is to press the lower back to the floor, to bring the knees towards the floor outside the shoulders, and the toes towards the wall behind you. Okay, now we're going to try and straighten one leg. And if you let your knee away from your chest then yes, you'll straighten your leg, but you're losing the chance to really optimize the stretch. So keep your knees as close to the floor as you can, and then try and straighten one of your legs. Throat, relax, face, throat. Really paying attention to what resists. Ah, enjoying the breath. Good, and then releasing that side. And then the other leg, the right leg. Oh, sorry, you might have been doing the other, a different leg to me. Okay, so whichever your other leg is. But remember, what we're trying to do is get the stretch without bringing the knee away from the floor. We're really trying to optimize there. Ah, good work. All right, let's do one more each side, or you can try both together, which is harder to do, especially if you're trying to keep your knees close to the floor. Ah, yes. Nice work. Release. Bring the feet down onto the floor so you can put the support in underneath your pelvis this time. We're going to bring the soles of the feet back together in Baddha Konasana and bring the arms into cactus arm. We started with a little supported back bend, and here we are again. Different emphasis. And think about these shapes. You can always do your own practice with a bolster or a bigger blanket. So making these supported back bend shapes all the way along the spine. Wherever it feels good. Good, and then gently pulling in your arms and your legs. Take that support out. We'll finish with the little spinal twist. Arms out from the shoulders. Inside edges of the feet together, knees together. Lift the hips, they swing right. And knees go left. Good. And we're going to engage the core of the body here. So just enough to lift the knees and the feet shy of the floor. But did you try to lift your chest and shoulders to lift the legs? Relax the upper body back to the floor. Feel the core warming. Feeling a deep and satisfying. Really aware of your core movement as you bring the legs back up to center. And then hips go left and knees go right. So we bring our awareness to the core of the body and lift the knees and the feet just off the floor. Notice if you feel like you're lifting your chest, trying to help, and relax. Chest and shoulders. Ah, finding your satisfying connection to the breath. And really aware of your core movement. Bring the legs back up to center. Hug your knees into. Rocking a little bit from side to side. Appreciating that core strength. Appreciating the breath. If you have time for your own Shavasana, lay your legs out to straight. And if, like me, you need to finish your practice, then rolling to your side. You can come up to sitting. Hands in front of your heart. Finding your breath. The feeling of the practice with you. Namaste.